Hello, my name is Robert Menard, and this is my multicultural counseling project. For my subject, I chose military veterans to be the subject of how counseling affects this particular group and how this group reacts to counseling. First of all, let's start off with some statistics about veterans in the United States. Right now, we have a total of 16.2 million veterans in the United States. We also have 1.4 active duty military serving across the world and across the country. Of that percentage, 9.4% of the percentage is women. And of that percent, 5.2 million have been diagnosed with mental health issues, with 7% being male and 13% being female. The suicide rate amongst veterans is 57.3% greater than non veterans. And the substance abuse rates of active military is 3.9%, while the veteran substance abuse rate is 6.2%. All these factors contribute to how veterans view counseling. The best place to start is from a historical perspective. If you go back to World War II, the way we saw our soldiers as they returned home from war were as heroes. They were given access to benefits they weren't given to before. They were welcomed home with open arms. And even though they came back with a lot of hard experiences, they were still treated as heroes. But back then, they weren't given that much access to mental health. They've seen horrible things during the war, and a lot of them had a lot to talk about, and a lot of things that need to be worked out, but they weren't given the proper access. If you go forward to the 1960s to the Vietnam War, as these soldiers returned home, they found a very hostile environment. They were treated as villains, they were treated as those who had almost committed a crime for going to war. They also returned to very limited mental health treatment. While they were treated for some of their physical ailments, they still had a really hard time because they didn't get the hero's welcome that the soldiers from World War II did. Instead, they came home to ridicule, they came home to joblessness, they came home to a lot of the same social issues they had whenever they left. If we look at 9/11 and the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, we also see a majority of our soldiers coming back with a lot of trauma, a lot of post traumatic stress disorder, a lot of different issues. But luckily, at this time, there was a great offering of mental health available. Now, whether or not these soldiers took advantage of the mental health that was there for them is another issue that comes from the culture of the military. The military values many things. They value honor, they value discipline, they value independence, and there's almost a normalization of substance abuse. It's considered okay for a lot of military people to go forward when they're on deployment and to drink heavily to deal with the atrocities and to deal with the different things they see while they're being deployed and are actually in a combat environment. But when they return, they sometimes carry over those same problems, those same issues, those same abuse patterns that they had whenever they were deployed. For the first time in this country's history, there's open availability to military people returning from wars or returning from service to get mental health treatment, either through the Veterans Administration or through other government programs. But even though they do have access to these things, and the military hierarchy tries their best to offer these services to their soldiers, it does not mean that the soldiers are going to take advantage of that opportunity. A lot of soldiers feel if they do take advantage of the opportunities to seek mental health, it will look negative on them when they try to promote or if they try to deploy to a different country or deploy to a different station so they can move higher in their ranks. So this prevents many soldiers who really need help from going forward to get help. Counseling is something that's hard for the average American to get their mind around as far as for being able to go in and get help when they need it. And it's even more difficult for military and active duty and veterans to seek this help if they already feel predisposed that if they do get this help, then it will keep them back from their goals. The needs of the veteran community right now really focus around mental health. It focuses around substance abuse counseling and the consideration of their PTSD and special needs from returning from war. More than almost any other community, they really need access to these services. And these services are there, but the whole thing is making sure to promote them and get them to go to the services and get help. And thank you.